What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and today we are going to be talking about Assassin's Creed, specifically the next Assassin's Creed that was supposed to come out in 2016, or everyone at least assumed it was supposed to come out in 2016, but it looks like Ubisoft is switching up their formula and pushing the game back to 2017 and kind of changing up that timeline that we've become familiar with. So every year about this time, it's when we start to speculate about what the next Call of Duty, what the next Assassin's Creed, and potentially what the next Battlefield games do hold, just because there isn't much coming out right now, and we know these games are going to be coming out in the fall, so it's at least something to start talking about. Now, of course, Call of Duty has enough content to become an annual franchise because you can make new maps, you can make new storylines that are kind of, loosely associated with the multiplayer, but it is a multiplayer-heavy franchise, so it is able to come out every year. With Battlefield, the same kind of algorithm works, even though it seems like they're not using that as much over at DICE and EA. They're kind of extending the life of Battlefield 4 and focusing more on Battlefront at the moment. So now we get to Assassin's Creed, which is kind of the odd man out, so to speak. Its multiplayer offerings are lacking. It just doesn't have the same kind of gameplay that lends itself to a multiplayer offering. So for the most part, it is focusing on the story-driven part of the game, and that's kind of what's held the game back as time has progressed, because for the past 6 years, Assassin's Creed has been a yearly franchise, and for the most part, everyone agrees that this series has just gotten stale, and it's reached a point of stagnation that's kind of harming the franchise as a whole. That's kind of what I'm getting with Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Now, this is a very unique game, and I think that it serves as a great example of what I'm talking about whenever I say the franchise has reached a point of stagnation. So the gameplay and the combat in this game is literally a combination of the combat from every Assassin's Creed to date, all smashed into one package. The plot of this game is exactly what you would come to expect. It's set in London, and you get to see inventions being invented, you get to meet famous people from that time period, and you get to kind of see the world evolve as you go through the plot, and these are two very major Assassin's Creed-like points that come to make this game a true Assassin's Creed game. But at the end of the day, when you compare this game to the first Assassin's Creed, it still has those elements of stuff happening that you see in history books and you're fighting alongside of it. It still has those combat elements, although this one is a little bit more evolved, but at its core, it's still the exact same as the game that was originally released in 2007, and that's why the Assassin's Creed franchise needs a change. It's the exact same game from 9 years ago. Apparently, Ubisoft has realized that, because rumor has it that the game has been pushed back to 2017, kind of throwing off the timeline of the yearly annual release that we have kind of come to expect, and I think that that is a fantastic idea. And they're saying that this is because of the failure of Unity back in 2014, and of course, I have talked about Unity many times on this channel, and I've used it as an example of what not to do, but the game was rushed, there were tons of glitches in it, the story felt lacking, the combat was kind of glitchy, and in general, Unity was a failure for Assassin's Creed, and it was kind of a rock bottom. Now, Syndicate has rebounded, and I assume this is because they had a team working on it alongside Unity. Maybe they had split up their assets to make sure that this game was going to be able to come out in 2015, and they really pushed it towards the end of the development cycle to make sure that it was better than Unity. And for the most part, it is better than Unity. It's a pretty satisfactory game. But with the failure of Unity, Ubisoft realized that there had to be a change, and so before they started working on Empire, or whatever it's going to be called, intensely, they went ahead and said, let's make this a 2017 game, put an extra year of development behind it, and make sure that this Assassin's Creed game is one that people remember, and not just one that fades into the history books, like I guarantee you Syndicate will. Now is where I start talking about spoilers from the past game, so pause it now. Okay, so now that Desmond is dead, and he has been dead for quite a few games now, and it's kind of following the story of his companions as they fight Abstergo Industries, which has pretty much taken over the entirety of the, memory emulation operation, it's time to kind of reboot the entire franchise, because we were all in it for Desmond. That was where the emotional connection was, because he was our current day link to the past, and we don't really need that anymore. We need something else. Maybe a new character, maybe a new idea for how we could kind of bring that emotional connection back into the game, but right now it's just not there, and that's what I think would really turn the franchise around, because the combat is right. I think if you figured out some new way to do multiplayer, then that might bring a new idea into the game, but for the most part, don't focus on multiplayer, focus on the story like you have been focusing on, and then just completely and totally bring a new storyline, a new character into the mix, something to kind of reboot the thing, maybe a third third party other than Abstergo and the Assassins. Maybe bring in someone else that's kind of the middleman and bring in some kind of new idea that way. There just has to be some kind of innovation in the Assassin's Creed franchise whenever the new game comes out in 2017. So there you guys have it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, drop me a like down below and comment what you think the new Assassin's Creed is going to be like. Do you think that they're going to make huge leaps and bounds and really bring back the franchise that we all know and love? Do you think that they're going to flop and it's just going to be just like the older games, except maybe with a little bit more of a polish on it since they've had the extra time? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and if you are new to the channel or you've never seen any of my other content, I do upload new stuff like 3 or 4 days a week depending on the week, so there's always something new right here on the channel when you drop by to watch some videos. And as always, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.